All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Much love to you brothers out there preaching the truth and sincerity. All right, it's the brother Azariah here with the Pittsburgh GMS camp. Salakia. Move this mic a little bit. All right, so yeah, just want to go ahead and touch on the third beast now. You know, I've been touching on the beast of Daniel, so I'm gonna go ahead of Daniel 7, and there's corresponding chapters in Daniel as well that speak on the beasts. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish and get to the third beast. You know, this is see here. So this is Daniel 7 in verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. You know, and so we're gonna. This is the third beast of Daniel's dream, the third kingdom to arise after the Medo-Persian kingdom. You know, and as we know, this statue also represents the 4 beasts. All right. See here. So Lucky, I'm just trying to get to right. All right, yep, here we go. All right. So this is the statue that was in Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel 2. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver. We know the breast and the arms represent the Medo-Persian Empire. His belly and his thighs of brass. And this is talking about the Greek Empire. His legs of iron. We'll get into that next. All right. So let's see. Let's go to the correlation here of where it actually tells you verbatim out of the Bible that it was the Greek Empire. And then we'll go into the history a little bit. All right. All right. So we talked about the ram, which had 2 horns. The 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other. That represented, let's just brief recap. That represented the Medo-Persian Empire, and one horn being higher than the other was when the Persian Empire took over the Medes, because the Medes were a small part of that union. They were a smaller portion, so the Persians eventually took over the Medes. All right. And then it just became one. It exalted itself above the other horn. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. You know, I'll admit I don't know exactly what this did not touch the ground part mean. But it will make sense when it talks about that beast having wings, 4 wings of a fowl. But we'll get into why. It tells you what this represents. So we'll go from there. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, and he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram. And he was moved with anger or choler against him, and smote the ram and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. All right. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. That's going to be a key right there. 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which I can see. We're not going to get into the little horn here. Let's just go in here and prove it. All right. This is Daniel 8:19. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. All right. So that king represents Alexander the Great. Okay, Alexander the Great. All right, let's see. Where was I gonna start here? Yeah. So during his youth, Alexander was tutored by Aristotle until age 16. After Philip's assassination in 336 BC, he succeeded his father to the throne and inherited a strong kingdom and experienced army. Alexander was awarded the generalship of Greece and used this authority to launch his father's Pan-Hellenic project to lead the Greeks in the conquest of Persia. In 334 BC, he invaded the Achaemenid Empire, which is what they call the Persian Empire, and began a series of campaigns that lasted 10 years. Following the conquest of Anatolia, Alexander broke the power of Persia in a series of decisive battles, most notably the battles of Issus and Gaugamela. He subsequently overthrew Persian king Darius III and conquered the Achaemenid Empire in its entirety. At that point, his empire stretched from the Adriatic Sea to the Indus River. So this is how we know this was Alexander the Greek, or the Great, as they like to call him. But we call him Alexander the Greek. All right, and so it said that. Let's read that again. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand out of the nation, Salakia, but not in his power. And so let's talk about that. It says that Salakia. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. So let's get some more history on this. During Alexander the Great, or the Greeks, after his death, or when he was about to die, this is what happened. Upon his recovery from Vespasian's death, Alexander returned to plans for expanding his empire, but would never realize them. He died in Babylon at the age of 32 on 10 or 11 June 323 BCE, after suffering 10 days of high fever. Theories concerning his cause of death have ranged from poisoning to malaria, meningitis to bacterial infection from drinking contaminated water. Plutarch says that 14 days before his death, Alexander entertained his fleet admiral Nearchus and his friend Medius of Larissa with a long bout of drinking, after which he fell into a fever from which he never recovered. When he was asked who should succeed him, Alexander said the strongest, which answer led to his empire being divided between four of his generals: Cassander, Ptolemy, Antigonus, and Seleucus. Antigonus and Seleucus, known as the Diadochi, or successors. So this is what it means when it says that that first horn, the great horn, was broken and four horns came out of it. And also when it says here in Daniel 7, after this I beheld, lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given in unto it. So that those four heads represent his four generals that came up after him. And I also think there's a image of let's see, Alexander the Great leopard. And supposedly there's a bust of him with a leopard. Oh, that's what that was on that picture, huh? A leopard skin. Oh, is that what's on his head? Looks like the head of you see his see the teeth of it. Looks like he has the head of some type of beast. You see the sharp tooth, the mouth. Probably a leopard. I've heard brothers say there's an image of him somewhere with a leopard on his head. See if I can find that. Bronze Kingdom of Greece. Well, we already know that the he goat, as you can see, even here it talks about the he goat coming and destroying the ram. And we know that's talking about the king of Greece. I don't see for myself the head of the leopard, but we know also from the four heads is talking about his four generals, and this does appear to be a leopard or some type of animal on his head. Let's see here. Alexander the Greek. Leopard head. Either way, the scriptures are clear, and we're just going to recap over them real quick. Okay, get out of here. Yeah. If there is an image, it doesn't do nothing but solidify the scriptures from what they say. So we'll just go over the scriptures again real quick. After this, I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Daniel 8. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. You know? And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power, because when they stood up, they were divided. When he said the strongest shall succeed him, that answer led to his empire being divided between 4 of his generals, Cassander, Ptolemy, Antigonus, and Seleucus, known as the Diadochi, or successors. You know, and like I said, it was divided. And so, yeah, you know, hopefully that answers what the third beast is. Hopefully that was edifying, and we'll cover the 4th beast. There are a lot of scriptures that refer to the 4th beast, and that might take a little more studying. I'll see, you know, let the spirit lead me on that, on the 4th beast. But like I said, hopefully this was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much love to you brothers out there preaching the truth and sincerity. With that, I'll say shalom.